So, welcome to the Lowdown Podcast. That's right. It's not a familiar face that you're seeing here today. Connor let me usurp the Lowdown Podcast, and I am a guest host of the Lowdown Podcast today. And that's because I'm here with my good friend, Tony Valdez, who's been with me for, I don't know, Tony, it's been probably over 10 years that we've been working together. And I asked Connor if I could take this one on my own. So, thank you for joining me today, buddy.
My pleasure, buddy. And I can't believe it's 12 years, Gino.
Dang.
12 years, 12 great years, by the way.
I appreciate that, Tony, and I'll never forget the way it went down. You just called me and said it was like a Saturday morning, and you called me and said, "Hey, could you have coffee right now?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, absolutely." And that was the beginning of this great decade. I've got to see your kids grow up. I've got to be blessed to be next to you and see you how you treat your clients and your realtor partners and our team. And honestly, it's just been a really good ride so far, and I can't wait to see what's ahead.
That's right. And the best is yet to come, Gino. Only
Yeah.
getting better.
That's right. We age like fine wine, buddy, right? That's what we're doing. We're getting better every day. We practice, we train, we get better every single day. And in the age of technology, I know that this is something that we're all dealing with as things are moving so quickly. And in the interest of serving our clients better, we're trying to move as quickly as we can to provide an Amazon-like experience for them.
That's right. That's right. The goal is to get better because the clients, they're asking for more, they're demanding more, and it's our job to be there for them.
So let's go back in history a little bit, Tony. Tell me about how you got started in the mortgage industry, because this may be a story that I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing this, Gino, for 28 years. Cinco de Mayo 1998 was the start of my run, and I don't know if you know this. The reason I got into mortgages is because I saw the struggles that my parents had when they bought their first home, right? Is filling out that application, that the mountain of disclosures that largely they were signing blindly. They didn't know to an extent what they were signing. And I'm like, you know what, I there's got to be a better way, and that's what drives me. That's what fuels me is to provide an experience to my clients that isn't like the experience that my parents had.
Yeah, man. I mean, so this is near and dear to your heart. And one of the questions I was going to ask you today, you almost just described for me is I said, why do you have a passion for first-time home buyers? I know that's something that you do seminars around and you have a passion for that in particular. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. But elaborate on that a little bit more and tell me what the experience is like when dealing with those kinds of first-time home buyers.
Absolutely. Well, yes, we do it all for repeat buyers, first-time buyers, investment buyers, but the sweet spot for me is definitely first-time buyers, right? A lot of first-time buyers don't realize that the dream of home ownership is within reach, and to take them from not thinking that they can be homeowners to seeing it come together and then delivering the keys, telling them that the loan has funded, and trying to do the best that we can as an experience for them. Nothing like that. And of course, VA veterans, military vets, as a proud military dad myself, I love helping vets realize the dream of home ownership. I have my son who recently commissioned from the Naval Academy, went Marines, and is soon to embark on his own quest to become a homeowner. And what better way than utilizing the VA entitlement?
So let's talk about that for a minute, because some people may not realize, and I've been saying this for a really long time, Tony. The VA loan is probably the best loan that we have in our arsenal. I wish I could get a VA loan. I don't deserve it. I didn't do what's necessary. I didn't make the sacrifice. But tell us a little bit about some of the benefits of a VA loan and why it's such a great loan.
That's exactly right, Gino. For those who have bravely served our country, right, the VA loan is by far the best loan that's out there from a standpoint that there is no down payment, there's no PMI, right? It allows for you to purchase or take on more debt by extending the debt to income ratios, and like we said, it's a benefit that these brave military vets have earned, right? And again, that VA loan by far is the best.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, and not, I don't want to get into the weeds, but some people don't know. They think because they hear 100% financing that it's only for veterans that are buying small homes or entry level homes. But we've seen jumbo loans be done in the veteran space, and it's actually the best jumbo loan in the nation.
Yeah, when you can structure a deal that a lot, including realtors and even the home buyer, doesn't realize that they can come in with zero or very little down payment, and you're buying in California in the 1.5 price range. That entitlement sure comes through in California.
Yeah, it really does. Not to get off VA very quickly, but I do want to ask about VA a couple other things. There's a couple myths around VA that we've got to debunk a little bit, Tony. I mean, like there was a time where the real estate community frowned on VA and thought that VA was a terrible loan for their sellers, and they have a really hard time accepting offers. I would say that over the last 10 years, and I'm going to pat ourselves on the back as an industry, we've done a better job of educating them. Do you feel better about veterans getting more of a chance in the marketplace today?
Yeah, 100%. Gino, you're right. It's unfortunate that a lot of these realtors, especially the ones that have been around for a while, they still have that bitter taste in their mouth with regards to what used to be with VA loans. Not the case anymore, and we're trying to spread the word as loud as we can to reach as many realtors as possible in the in educating them that that VA loan is not what it used to be. It's now just like any other loan, right? It does have its intricacies, and but they're very minimal. My hope as a military dad is right is that it doesn't get put in a place where it's like second tier or a default loan, where in reality it's just like any other loan, and it's providing a great benefit to our vets.
Well, Tony, I'm going to go ahead and say it because the reason that VA loans have a bad rap is because some loan officers didn't know what they were doing when they were originating them and they made mistakes. And the reality of the matter is today, for those of us that are experts in the VA space, we don't have any of those problems. They sail through just like any other loan. We could close them quickly. We do all the things we do on every regular loan, don't we?
Yeah, no, we do. And here at Lower, we have our support system is second to none. And we have a team that's dedicated to helping not only the veteran themselves, but also our loan officers become better, because there's so many details to the VA home loan that, the more we dig into it, the more we learn on a daily basis. And like I said, Lower provides that support for us that is second to none.
Cool, man. Let's talk about some other things. I happen to know a lot about your personal life. I happen to know your kids very, very intimately and closely. You tapped a little bit on telling us about your son that's a proud Marine that just graduated from the Naval Academy. Now tell us about your other son a little bit.
Yeah, so my oldest Nico, he's a real estate investor himself, and he's out of the San Diego market. Really proud of the work that he has done, and how really entrenched he is in his profession of being a real estate investor. They acquire a lot of properties, and they do a lot of value adds. So they add ADUs, and they're helping that San Diego market with bringing additional housing to market by way of adding ADUs to a lot of the properties that they're acquiring and refurbishing.
And not only is he working stateside here, but he's got a little international project going. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so he's also spread his reach a little bit. He's doing some investing out in Cabo San Lucas, providing some Airbnb opportunities for a lot of Americans and people from all over the world. And again, he's working, but it's really a labor of love. He loves doing that. He loves seeing projects from the beginning, ground up to what it is now.
Okay, so now tell us a little bit about your wife, because we're going to bring this whole thing full circle here. This real estate is like something that runs through your veins, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't get away from it. So I got my oldest involved in San Diego in real estate, and I come home to my wife, who is a realtor herself. So it's always talking shop around real estate, whether it's mortgages, real estates, investments, etc. The whole Valdez clan.
All right. Well, now I want to dive deep into some of the strategies we're using today to win in today's market. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of fear out there about real estate. We talked about this. You've seen it for 28 years. How many times in the last 28 years has there been an oil spike, some sort of international crisis, interest rates, volatility, and all these other things? And you've seen all of it. How do you still feel about home ownership? And is today a good time to buy?
I still firmly believe that owning real estate is still by far a one of the best investments that we'll all make in our lifetimes, regardless of the noise that's going on. I mean, first of all, we all need a place to call home, right? And regardless of what's going on in the market or overseas or conflicts, etc., it's still a great time to buy. What I'm seeing, Gino, is that those that are brave enough to, see it through with getting off the proverbial fence of home ownership and taking that leap of faith and becoming homeowners, they're not regretting their decision. They're actually glad that they finally did it, right? Rates are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to go up, they're going to go down, right? But the one thing you can't do is refinance the price of the home. And what we've seen here, at least in our market, is that it's remained, and if not the same, it's gone up at a healthy pace, right? 3, 4% in the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say that real estate is a get rich slow process. And I think that in a world in which people want to try to get rich quick, that's not what real estate is. Real estate is a long-term wealth building asset and forms part of your investment portfolio. Now, some people like myself are addicted to it, and maybe we're a little too heavy on the real estate side and not enough on the liquid cash side sometimes. But it's served me very well, and I know Tony, it's served your family and overall. I mean, you could tell us about your client base. You've got a portfolio of 20 years of clients. It's not just the ones that just get the keys and they're still excited about it. I mean, have you ever really had anybody in 28 years say, "I wish I hadn't done that"?
That's exactly right. After 28 years, I still haven't had one buyer, one client, one customer come back to me and say, Tony, I regret buying a home. Uh, Everyone that I've served has been, grateful that they made that decision to become homeowners.
So tell me a little bit about strategies being used today when there is a quick run up in rates like we just saw today in the last few weeks. I think that people tend to go back into this "I'm going to wait" period. And I actually want to make sure that we identify the fact that uh, buyers and sellers are equally fearful, and what kind of opportunity does that create?
Right. One of the strategies that having great success with is that of the temporary rate buy downs, Gino. I mean, this is a strategy that not only helps the buyer, but in many cases also helps the seller, right? It creates a win-win situation in that the seller sells the property faster and the homeowner realizes that low rate that psychologically they're waiting for, right? Where they can get a temporary rate buy down where the rate starts out for the first year at 2% lower, second year 1% lower, and then back to the regular rate. It's a great way to enter the market, especially as a first-time home buyer. And there's a lot of great opportunities that exist, right, where sellers are willing to give that seller to buyer credit to allow the buyer to take on that temporary rate buy down.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're seeing is this subsidy, let's call it. It is a seller subsidy of interest rate for a temporary amount of time. What you described was the 2-1 bow down. Last week I saw a 3-2-1 buy down, which I hadn't
Wow.
seen in years. But that is available as well for a seller that's very aggressive or been on the market for a long time. So the 3-2-1 is available as well as the 1-0, and we can deploy all those strategies.
Yeah, and we can deploy them not only on conventional loans, but on the government loans as well, which is again a great strategy because usually those buyers are the first time buyers that need that help.
So we just talked about two subsegments of buyers that you serve, but I also get to see your desk intimately. And I also know that you have quite a few friends that don't fit into that box, and they fit into the complex tax return box. So let's dive a little bit into that space and how we deal with people that have complexities in their tax returns, own multiple companies, have lots of write offs, and things of that nature. What solutions do you have for them?
Yeah, there's a lot of savvy business owners that obviously make a lot of money, but don't show a lot of it on their tax return. So it makes it a little difficult to approve them the traditional way by way of verifying income. We get creative here at Lower. We offer expanded guidelines where we can help many buyers, usually business owners, qualify by way of doing bank statement programs. We can do 1099 programs. And a lot of times we can even do no ratio approvals for such buyers, right? And it creates an opportunity for us to serve a larger audience of buyers, right? That in many cases need a solution to their current situation. So I'm really having great success with reaching out to that client base as well.
You know, what's interesting, Tony, is a lot of those people have been told no by banks. And last year, you structured an incredibly difficult deal for a borrower. I believe, and I don't want to get the numbers wrong, but was it a $7 million house or a $7 million loan?
Yeah, it was a large transaction. It was a $7 million home, and luckily they had a low loan to value, loan amount of roughly $4 million. Um, Again, it's a situation where they were told that they couldn't do their loan at any of the large institutions for the reason that they don't have those guidelines. And here at Lower, we're blessed to have that opportunity to have a wider product offering than most banks themselves.
And my favorite thing to do is that we find a way to say yes when others say no.
Yep, as our good friend here at work says, if it's legal, we'll find a way to get it done.
Yep. We've got these taglines that we've earned over the years, Tony. So look, we've identified that we have a wide credit box and that we find ways and creative solutions to say yes, and if it's legal, we'll get it done. Um, Tell me a little bit about your hobbies. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do in your downtime? I mean, this is a hard business. We're always available. We're available nights, weekends. Like we're basically at the beck and call of our buyers. So like when you do take some downtime, what do you like to do?
Yeah, when I do take my downtime, I'm a sports fanatic, and the one sport that I turn to now is golf. Any opportunity that I get on weekends, and especially now with the longer days, I love going out there taking walks, carrying my bag and swinging the sticks, right? Nothing like walking out there and having a 9 holes or 18 holes if I'm lucky after a long day of work and of course on weekends can't beat a good round of golf.
Well, I know that you golf with some friends that are a little better than I am, Tony, because I'm not very, very good at it, but I'm good enough to at least get out there and smoke a cigar, which is half the game. Uh,
Hey, golf is about getting out there and like you said, enjoying the outdoors and the friendships and yeah, if you get a couple of good shots in between, a couple of good holes, and that's just enough to get you back for another round.
Yeah. And Tony does take this very seriously, guys. What you can't see is on the other side of his office, he's got a little chipping green almost to where he could practice his golf swing inside his office. I think that's what keeps you sane throughout the day.
Yeah, it's a little makeshift simulator, as I like to call it, right? As best as I can do, but it allows me to take a full swing, right? So I like it.
Yeah. Cool, man. I know also tell me a little bit about some grill time, man. I know I tried to rub that off on you and you've taken a passion for grilling some meats a little bit here and tell me a little bit about how that works out in your life.
Yeah, so that's another of my hobbies that I've taken on lately is that of learning the grill and who better to coach me to guide me in some of the tips and tricks to the barbecue to the Argentinian asados than yourself, Gino. I really love it. I love my time out there. It's a longer process, right, with the wood burning grills, and nothing tastes better than a steak that took you a little time to put together.
All right, man. Well, this has been great. We covered a lot of things. Just as a synopsis, like what message do you want to give to? I'm going to ask you for two messages here. What message do you want to say to home buyers right now? Let's go with that first, and then I have one more for you.
Yeah, no, the one message that I always say is you may be ready to become a homeowner, right? You don't have to delay it any further, right? It's never going to be an ideally perfect time, right? Reach out to a mortgage professional, find out what your current situation looks like, because you might surprise yourself. You may be more ready than you think you are to become a homeowner and be approved.
And this one might catch you by surprise. What message do you have for loan officers? This has been the hardest 3 years, or maybe almost 4 years in my lending career. And I've been doing this for 20 some odd years myself as well. It's been a grind, it's been hard, but somebody out there might need to hear this message. What message do you have for them?
Yeah, no, what keeps me sane is, keep taking care of my mind, taking care of my body, right? If I have that in place, I feel like, that carries on to my profession, with being positive, right? And being someone that people enjoy being around, and, not only friendships, but also clients. A lot of times they can hear you through that phone, right? They can read you like a book. So what I say is, get better with your profession, take care of yourself, and ultimately that translates to taking care of your clients.
All right, Tony. Well, thank you for being on the lowdown today. That's going to be a wrap. I love you having me on my team as a part of the lower team, as a part of the lower family. And we're proud of the work that you do for our clients. So thank you very much.
Love it. Thanks for having me, Gino.